morning, Roll Gang, and welcome on inside to a fresh episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. I am your host, Processor Sky, back with another episode of Canon News Thursday, deriving you the latest and greatest in cannabis industry news. And we have some bangers to go over this morning, Roll Gang. Some absolute awesome cannabis industry news here on this Canon News Thursday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. So excited to share this amazing news. We got some from California, Colorado, Louisiana, and a little bit of major Twitter news to go over. But let's officially get on into this episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake first. Major shout out to everybody tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You guys are all the shit. Thank you guys for tuning in for another fabulous episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. Going live every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern with some fresh cannabis content with the Roll Gangsters. And after all, we are blessed to have awoke this beautiful Thursday morning. So we are blessed to have a smoke this beautiful Thursday morning. Major shout out to the sponsors of the show because they help out the Roll Gangsters and make this show possible. First and foremost, the first ever cannabis college in the world, WWnB University. Roll Gangsters, first matters, and being first in something should give you a little bit more favoritism when claiming your stake in a specific industry. WWnB University was the first place to educate cannabis professionals on how to create cannabis businesses and how to professionally grow cannabis. All the best professors in the entire industry, some of the best growers in the world, cannabis entrepreneurs in the world, are professors now at WWnB University, teaching all of the future industry moguls how to run and create a successful cannabis industry business. If you are looking to learn how to grow some top shelf cannabis in your very own home, use promo code Rolling Spoon when checking out for your home grow course from WWnB University. You can get certified in home growing, and you can do it for 10% off with the help of your Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool, the second named sponsor of the show. Use promo code Rolling Spoon for 10% off at WWnB University, and also use your Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool to help you roll a dime every time. I just got this paper out of my batch of papers, and I am about to use my rolling spoon to evenly procure my cannabis from my grinder to my paper. If I don't even have a surface, Roll Gang, I highly suggest using your offhand to hold the filter of a joint paper. You know, you could be standing, you could be walking, wherever you are. And if you have a rolling spoon accessible with your dominant hand and a little bit of weed in some kind of pocket or a counter or something, even whenever you don't have a surface you can particularly roll in, you can have a fairly clean and easy roll with no surface by using your rolling spoon in conjunction. You know what I mean? Don't need a surface. If you don't want any of the weed to leave your joint whenever you're rolling it, you don't want any to come out the back end, stick your rolling spoon straight edge into your joint, press down, and you can actually poke the weed down into the end, sticking it all together. And then basically it's ready to roll. You don't even have to do that much more molding after that. A little bit of mold, then hit the tuck, roll it up, lick it, and stick it. Hell roll, gang. This is a fatty this morning, though. I rolled a little bit of a fatty this morning. Super excited to spark up this fatty of Gorilla Glue on today's Can of News Thursday of the Weekday Wake and Bake and dive into the latest and greatest in cannabis industry news from around the world. Let's get into it. The first piece of cannabis industry news is this unbelievable breaking news from Twitter. So Twitter officially announced this morning that they will no longer be discriminating against cannabis content. They will be allowing and even promoting cannabis industry tweets. And that includes tweets with THC, Delta 9 THC. Making Twitter the first of the major social media platforms to openly allow and support cannabis and the cannabis industry. Major claps and hats off to Twitter. Honestly, hopefully Instagram and YouTube follow suit pretty soon, but the cannabis industry isn't going anywhere, and I am super excited for Twitter to be collaborating with cannabis professionals now and creating professional content. Twitter is now fully cannabis compliant to post anything you want cannabis related on their service. Major shout out to the first ever major social media platform to promote the cannabis industry, Twitter. So special shout out this morning to everybody tuning in live and after the fact on Twitter. You are now doing so completely allowedly. I don't even know if that's a word. Allowedly? Whatever. The next piece of cannabis industry news is a great little nugget of news coming from California, just west of us here in Vegas. So California just approved a $20 million grant to expand licensure to unserviced areas. So now little cities, little towns in bumfuck California are going to have dispensaries and legal cannabis. The state government is trying to fund the expansion of the industry to smaller areas of California, because everybody thinks of San Francisco, Sacramento, and NorCal, and then LA and San Diego and SoCal, but really there's so much in between. There's so many small towns in California that need cannabis as well. So California approving this $20 million grant to expand into bumfuck will allow all of the smaller populations in Cali to consume legal cannabis. So 2 pieces down of cannabis news, 2 to go, but major halftime shout out to the named sponsors of the show, the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool and Oaksterdam University, my proud alma mater, and the first ever cannabis college. Use promo code Rolling Spoon to get 10% scholarship off your cannabis industry education at Oaksterdam University and claim your stake in this budding industry today. It's poppin', roll gang. I mean, read it and weep. So Colorado's governor himself, Jared Polis, was just tweeting and flexing about Colorado's cannabis industry, on his very own Twitter. So Twitter just basically went, you're allowed to tweet whatever you want cannabis related. So the governor of Colorado instantly goes to Twitter and tweets flexing about his Colorado having the first ever fully automated cannabis vending machine. And that was basically the tweet. It was a picture of the vending machine, and it says, the first fully automated cannabis kiosk on the market. This is an official tweet with the check mark from Colorado's governor himself, Jared Polis, flexing about the cannabis industry. It's going mainstream, folks. It is going mainstream. The wave is upon us. government officials are tweeting about cannabis industry. The industry is going crazy. High tides raise all ships. So let's keep getting high. And the last piece of cannabis industry news, last but certainly not least, we've got Louisiana joining the chat for cannabis legislation. So Louisiana lawmakers have just written up and sponsored a bill to be voted on this year on adult use cannabis legislation. So one of the very next states that could legalize cannabis statewide for 21 plus use is Louisiana, just jumping on the bandwagon, and hopefully sooner rather than later, we're going to be smoking some pot in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Shout out Joey Burrow and LSU. Louisiana's actually a super fun state. I've been there. Lots of culture. Mardi Gras would be so lit with a little bit of marijuana, Mardi Gras with some marijuana. I'm a fucking fool. Major shout out to Cali 420 Love, Mercedington, and everybody tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Mercedington wondering how long the program is. Honestly, Merc, I really don't. I don't know. We've shot episodes as short as 4 minutes and as long as an hour, I think. And honestly, it's just kind of sesh-based, smoking up with the Roll Gang and chatting it up about whatever. Huge shout out, Merc, the chat champion of the day. It's been a minute. Absolutely love Mercedington, Cali 420 Love, and everybody else tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the champion of the socials today, Twitter. Major shout out. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Rachel is not joining me today, but she is priming up a super poppin' episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake for Fuck Yeah Friday tomorrow. Cannot wait to see what she comes up with, and can't wait to sesh with the Roll Gangsters, just like every weekday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. The Weekday Wake and Bake with your Processor Sky. Mwah! Love you, Roll Gang!